Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, we'll be discussing YouTube's 2022 priorities and what I think that means for us as creators, and then I'll be answering a couple of your questions, so go ahead and stick around. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the meat of the episode. That would be disgusting. I'm not saying jump into actual physical meat. Can you imagine a swimming pool full of ground beef and just diving into it, or raw chicken cutlets? Oh, God. I'm repulsed by the thoughts that go through my head. The meat of the episode, meaning YouTube's 2022 priorities. The annual tradition where YouTube says, here's what we're going to do, and I look at it and say, yeah, right. You on board? Buckle up. Susan put out the blog post and the video for YouTube's priorities of 2022. I will not be covering every single topic or point that they make, so I will link the full blog post and video in the episode notes in case you want to read into it a little bit more and see exactly what was said or how they worded it, in case you want to deconstruct it a little bit more. But let's go ahead and jump to some clips of the YouTube priorities video, because if there are clips from that video, you don't have to listen to me read. So let's jump to the first clip about the creator economy.
We've seen incredible growth on YouTube. We're also seeing significant momentum with Shorts. We've now hit 5 trillion all-time views on Shorts, and creators are significantly impacting the global economy. The number of channels around the world making more than $10,000 a year is up 40% year on year.
Okay, the takeaway from this clip has nothing to do with YouTube bragging about that 40% increase in the number of channels earning $10,000 a year or more. Yes, that's great information, great. Creators are earning more money. That is a good thing. The takeaway is that one of the first things discussed in the video about 2022 priorities was Shorts. I think that tells us what YouTube's priorities really are. I think they are going to be focusing quite heavily on Shorts over the coming year. And what can we take away from this? What can we use this information for? I think it means we should start considering producing short content, because if YouTube's going to be pushing it, that means they're going to be looking for creators who are making shorts to promote. If you make short content, you may be one of those creators who gets picked up by the algorithm and gets that promotion, gets that push. I'm still not 100% sure how I could make proper shorts, because the way that I view shorts and the way that I've heard people describe shorts is wacky and weird and quirky videos. I don't necessarily think that 60-second microphone comparisons would be very broad-reaching, but it's possible. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I could create shorts and put them on my second channel. If they don't do well, who cares? If they do, awesome. Maybe YouTube will send me a bunch of money. But that's what I take away from the first clip. Shorts are going to be very important to YouTube over the coming year. Let's jump to the second clip.
We're giving creators more control, and we're working behind the scenes to look hard at our policies and make sure that we're drawing the line in the right places. And we're also hiring more people so we can expand our experiment to provide creators more detail about policy violations, like timestamps.
I think that this is great, but I'll believe it when I see it. When I see people posting screenshots of this video violated our policy at this time and here is why, then I'll believe it. That would be amazing, because then the creators know what behavior is no longer allowed on the platform, and they can adjust their strategies to avoid violating your policy. It's brilliant. It's a win-win. I don't think YouTube wants to ban people, so it's the right course of action. It actually makes sense, but I will believe it when I see it. And also, I really truly hope this doesn't just apply to videos. I hope it applies to all content on the platform. My personal YouTube channel was banned for spam, scams, and commercially deceptive practices, something like that, which doesn't make sense. My videos were me reading Grimm's fairy tales, by the way, youtube.com/BandrewScott, if you want to hear me reading Grimm's fairy tales poorly, but I was banned for that. I don't know if it was a video. Doesn't make sense for it to be a video, because that's all I do on the channel, so I'm assuming it was a comment. And that is why I'm suggesting, or why I'm hoping, that this won't just apply to videos. I'm hoping it will apply to all content on the platform, including comments that you leave. This comment was flagged. This is the policy that it broke. Here is why it violated that policy. That would be amazing. But we'll wait and see. I'm not going to hold my breath. I would love to see that, though. Let's jump to the next clip.
And here are a few areas that we're investing in this year. Last year, we started rolling out a new feature that lets you remix audio from across the platform. In months ahead, we will expand this with even more exciting ways to remix YouTube content. And we're giving Shorts creators ways to make money through our Shorts Fund. Over 40% of creators who received payment from the fund last year were not in the YouTube Partner Program previously.
There you have it. Like I said, shorts. Shorts, not shorts. I am not advocating the wearing of shorts because when one wears shorts, that leads to risk of something potentially popping out. Nobody wants to see that. Wear regular shorts. The entire point is Shorts content is going to be invested heavily in by YouTube. We already know what we can take away, start making Shorts content, but why are they investing so heavily in this? Why is this such a big priority? The only reason that makes any kind of sense for this investment would be that YouTube is losing viewers and in turn revenue to TikTok, and they're really concerned about it. The reason this is still kind of confusing to me, they have been promoting watch time as the holy grail of analytics up until last year, I think. And now they're promoting and advocating their creators to make the shortest content possible. Make 15-second videos. Heck yeah. We'll even give you money to do it. It's just such a 180 turn. Going from, hey, make long videos, make those videos great so people watch as much as possible. And then, I can't snap, by the way. Snap. Hey, go ahead and make 60-second content. That's what we want, and we'll pay you to do it. Just crazy. So that's why they're doing it, in my opinion. And what we can learn is make Shorts content. Let's jump to another clip.
We've seen incredible strides in the evolution of gaming on YouTube and recently brought over creators to live stream exclusively on YouTube. We're building out our live experiences with better discoverability and more chat features. And we'll also roll out one of our top requested features, gifted memberships.
In my opinion, there are a few really big takeaways from this clip. It has nothing to do with gaming. Yeah, that's good, great, grand. I don't watch gaming content, but I know it's popular, so it's good that they are supporting that community. The takeaways for me are regarding live streaming, because I think what they said is essentially them saying, we are coming to take Twitch's lunch. We are going to dominate them. Why do I say that? What did they say they're going to do? Improve discoverability for live streamers, new chat features, and gifted memberships. Those last 2 points really aren't too important to me because, in my opinion, that's just YouTube taking Twitch's features and porting them over to try to improve their live streaming experience. Because currently, chat features and the chat experience on YouTube is garbage compared to Twitch. Also, YouTube does not have gifted memberships or gifted subs or anything, so they're just taking that from Twitch and bringing it over to YouTube. The final point, though, is the biggest one. This is the important one. The discoverability. Improving discoverability, because that is what YouTube does best, and that is what Twitch does worst. Listen to any of these live streaming coaches or live streaming critics. What will they say? If you want to grow your Twitch stream, if you want to grow your Twitch audience, do it elsewhere. You need to do it on Twitter. You need to do it on TikTok, on YouTube, on all these other platforms, and then funnel those users over to Twitch. If YouTube can do this well, they are going to kill Twitch. Because I imagine that is one of the biggest complaints of Twitch streamers. There's no way to grow natively on the platform. If you want to grow on Twitch, you have to essentially market for Twitch. You have to say, hey, go to twitch.tv/whatever. Go check me out over there, bro. Go do it. Twitch doesn't do anything for you if you are a small streamer trying to grow. So if YouTube is able to successfully integrate discoverability into live streaming, they will dominate Twitch. I think this is a big one, if they can do it properly. Let's jump to the next clip.
People are discovering new products on YouTube. we launched a creator tagging pilot that gives viewers the chance to shop their favorite videos. This year, we'll bring live shopping to more creators and brands as we build more interactive and entertaining experience for users.
All right, the takeaway here, YouTube is putting a bunch of money into developing new ways for creators to earn money, and I love that. I know it's easy to crap on YouTube. I know it's popular to crap on YouTube, but I think what they do is amazing. I know I sound like a YouTuber Google shill, but the fact that they make so much effort, or they put in so much effort to make it so we as creators can earn money is amazing. For example, over the last year, memberships and super thanks have been amazing on the Podcastage channel, but I am super excited about this shopping bag thing. This is going to be so helpful for channels like mine where we review and compare products, because then we can just put a link to the product right on the video. I'll go ahead and be a little bit transparent here. Over the last year or so, my click-throughs on all of my links has dropped precipitously. I think there are a few reasons for that. First one, there has been a massive explosion of people making content similar to me, covering audio gear. So people aren't just watching me, the views are more spread out. That's fine, nothing we can do about that. The second though, if you look at ads beneath a lot of videos, now they are including links directly to the product that is being reviewed. So chances are, people who are watching the review are clicking on the ad for that product, as opposed to going through and scrolling down through the really lengthy and verbose description and clicking on a link there. So I'm probably losing a lot of links due to the advertisements being placed for the product I'm reviewing. This seems like it might be a good way to avoid losing those clicks though, because as somebody's scrolling, they're going to click on the first link that they see. If that first link is an advertisement, they'll click on that. But if they're watching the video and then in the upper corner pops up a, hey, click here if you want to buy the microphone, they'll click on that. Now we will have to wait and see what kind of monetization options are available for those shopping links, if it will be a price per click or something like that, or if it will allow you to use, what would it be called, affiliate links up there so you get the kickback for that. I don't know how they're going to approach it, but I think this may help increase revenue for channels like mine that do a lot of reviews or comparisons between a lot of gear, because you can have a link to the product right in video. I think that's really cool and a neat development, but I don't know how it's actually being implemented. This is a we'll have to wait and see kind of situation. Oh my God, he said the thing. Let's go to the next clip.
We also heard from many of you about the removal of the public dislike count on YouTube, and I know that this decision was controversial. Some of you mentioned dislikes helped you decide what videos to watch, but dislikes were never shown to people on the homepage, search results, up next screens, where users were most likely to choose a video. People dislike videos for many reasons, including some that have nothing to do with the video, which means that it's not always an accurate way to select which video to watch. We also saw the dislike count harming parts of our ecosystem through dislike attacks, as people actively work to drive up the number of dislikes on a creator's video. And these dislike attacks often targeted smaller creators and those just getting started. So we experimented with removing the dislike counts across millions of videos over many months. And every way we looked at it, we did not see a meaningful difference in viewership, regardless of whether or not there was a public dislike count. And importantly, it reduced dislike attacks. Creators will still be able to find their dislike counts in YouTube Studio if they find it a helpful metric, and viewers can still dislike videos to inform their recommendations.
Are you mad about that yet? I know so many people are pissed off about this, and I completely get it. I stand by my opinion on the dislike count, though. I think it was dumb for them to remove it. I didn't think they were actually going to remove it. I think they were lying about the justification for it. The entire, oh, it's for creator mental well-being. If it was for that, you wouldn't include the dislike count in the YouTube Studio still. You would remove it completely, so you're lying about that. But I don't think it was the biggest deal for the dislike count to be removed, and it has had literally zero impact on my viewing experience or my viewing choices. I do watch a lot of stuff on my TV, which doesn't have any like or dislike count that's easily accessible, so it has had zero impact on me. But I get why people hate it. Let's jump to another clip, the final clip from this entire thing, I think.
We'll continue to reach out to government officials to discuss issues that are a priority for viewers, creators, and artists on our platform, and it's important that policymakers understand how their decisions could impact the growing creator economy. The proposed Digital Services Act in the European Union could have unintended consequences for online speech. We support the goal to create a unified digital consumer protection framework across member states, but some provisions could make it more difficult for YouTube to help users find high-quality content that meets their interests. We will continue to work with the EU member states as they incorporate Article 17 and the EU Copyright Directive into local laws.
The only real takeaway here is just a reminder that the entire platform of YouTube is subject to law. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is I know a lot of people like to crap all over YouTube saying, how could they possibly be doing this? They're implementing a copyright system. How dare they? They're doing this to hurt the creators. They're not. YouTube is not doing it to hurt the creators. Could they implement it better? Yes. But they are doing it because they are forced to by law. They have to do it because if they don't, they could either face legal action and fines from the government, or they could be sued heavily. So I just wanted to take the time to remind people that yes, YouTube is subject to laws, and we will see other platforms have to grow and adopt a lot of the systems that YouTube has developed. A lot of people think, oh, YouTube's implementing these systems, I'm going to move over here. You dummy. That platform's going to have to follow the same laws as YouTube if they're functioning in the same states, the same countries as YouTube. It's only a matter of time before you get dinged for the exact same things on that new platform. You can't escape copyright by moving to a different platform. Copyright law is the same. Copyright law is the exact same. And this is exactly why I am mildly annoyed by those Twitch streamers who are so blatantly disregarding the law. Because when regulation and legislation is rolled out to fight the infringement that we saw on Twitch, it's not going to apply only to Twitch. It's going to impact every single video creator. And that's going to mean that YouTube is going to have to take action to fight infringement like that. I think YouTube already has a lot of the systems in place because they've been doing this for years, but you get my point. YouTube has to follow the law just like you and I. Assuming you do follow the law, I think you should follow. I follow the law. Try saying that 5 times fast. Follow the law. 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 It sounds like I'm singing a Christmas carol now. What am I talking about? Check the description, the episode notes. There is a link to the blog post and the video. That's all that I've got to say about it. And now let's talk about what I've been testing. And I am going to say the thing. You have been listening to it. The Hissy Electronics Dynacaster, a new broadcast dynamic microphone. People have been hounding me to review it. I just got it last week. This costs $270, $280. Full disclosure, sent to me by Hissy Electronics so that I can review it, which I will be doing in the future. I am just using it right now. As far as the modes, I have the low shelf engaged, so I'm boosting the low end a little bit. And then on the high end, I have the first high shelf engaged, not the 10 dB high shelf, but the first one, the more subtle one. Also, listen to that. That's something to take note of, isn't it? That's what I'm using. There are a lot of filters on this that you can take off, which is a lot of fun, but I'm not going to say anything else. We're not going to do a what you had to say. Actually, we are going to do one what you had to say. I don't have the comment pulled up. Somebody said, how to get included in Bandrew's podcast. Leave a comment that triggers him. And the reason I want to address this is, yeah, kind of. I don't want to say absolutely, but the reason I'm saying that is it would be so incredibly uninteresting if I included comments that just said, hey, great episode. Hey, I really enjoyed that. Hey, I agree completely. So I include comments that I disagree with because it furthers the conversation. It makes it interesting. If it was just an echo chamber of people saying, hey, great job, that would be the most worthless what you had to say ever. So I'm very rarely going to include comments that are just super duper, Bandrew, really like what you're doing. That makes me feel wonderful. Please don't stop leaving them. But when I am including a comment, I want it to add value to the episode. I wanted to add value to the podcast, and I wanted to add value for you as the listener or viewer. And when people are disagreeing with me, I think that makes it a lot more interesting. That's why I do it. So I wanted to address that, and I didn't include your comment. So you didn't even get mentioned. Joke's on you, sucker. Okay, let's jump to my favorite part of the show. Alienate your audience, Bandrew. That's a great idea. Let's jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. All right, welcome to the Ask Bandrew segment. If you have any questions, you can go to askbandrew.com. That is not askbrandon.com. That is askbandrew.com. There are instructions on how to send in audio, video, and text-based questions. I do prefer audio and video because then I don't have to read. You get a break from hearing me speak. Let's go ahead and jump to the first video submission. I'm going to tell you, I swear I have answered this. I could not find notes of it. I swear I have answered this. But I'm including it because I couldn't find it. So if it's a duplicate, let me know. Take it away, Jonathan.
Hey, Bandrew, Jonathan here from North Carolina. Just had a question for you. I work for a church, and one of the interesting things about working for a church is that churches have a habit of buying audio equipment, using it for 10 years, buying new audio equipment as an upgrade, and then kind of putting the old stuff away that still works, just maybe doesn't work as... I don't even know why they put it away and buy new stuff. But so I wind up with like interesting things like this Audio-Technica AT811 unidirectional electric condenser microphone, which doesn't use phantom power off your interface or board. It uses a single AA battery inside, which has just been fun to play with. But my question is about these bad boys, which are old lavalier microphones. This is a Shure WL84, a Shure 83A, and a Shure 185, which is still like sold. But they all go to wireless battery packs, and so they all use this mini XLR format. The wireless battery packs no longer work, or they like that's the part of the system that broke, that got replaced, and we just don't need these anymore. But I want to hold on to them because they're interesting, and it would be nice to have to use for my own video calls where I don't have to pull out my Shure SM7B where it like takes up half of the video frame. So my question is, can I take a mini XLR to full-size XLR adapter, run it into my Audient Evo 4 interface, turn on phantom power, and have this work? Because I'm pretty sure that these draw their power off the wireless transmitter, and what I don't want to do is I don't think the transmitter uses 48 volts. I think it uses a lower voltage, and so I don't want to like blow out the capsule by overloading it with power, essentially. So my question is, can I just plug this into my interface without destroying the microphone, or would that somehow compromise the internal components to the lavalier condenser microphones? Thank you very much. Hopefully you get to answer my question.
All right, Jonathan, thank you very much for the video submission. You are asking, can you connect a lavalier microphone with those mini XLR ports to a mini XLR to XLR adapter, plug it into an interface, and use 48 volts phantom power? I would not recommend it. I will first say, I don't know if it would destroy the microphone or not, but I wouldn't risk it because those microphones, I looked up the 183, 184, it requires 5 volts of power. That's plug-in power. 48 volts of phantom power, I don't think anything good would happen. I will suggest asking somebody who knows a lot more about lavalier microphones because I am sorely underinformed on them. Go ask SoundSpeeds or Curtis Judd. They do a lot of work with them. They know a heck of a lot more about me. But if a device is expecting 5 volts and it gets 48, I can't imagine anything good happening unless there's some kind of protection system in there to keep all the voltage from getting through, but I don't know if that exists. I don't know. I wouldn't do it because, 48 volts versus the expected 5 volts, it's quite a big difference. If anybody does know, actually, let's pass this off to anybody listening to this. If you know what happens if you connect 48 volts to a 5 volt lav, does it explode? Does it just fry the electronics? What does it do to the lav mic? Or are there protections built into these lav mics to protect that voltage getting through, that excess voltage from destroying it? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, youtube.com/BandrewSaysPodcast. Let's jump to the second submission. This is a voice submission from Lydia. Take it away, Lydia.
Hi, Bandrew, and thank you so much for your show and taking my question. My name is Lydia, and I use a microphone for podcasting and also some upcoming horror-related voiceover work. I haven't heard too many women's voices on your show, and I'm wondering, because I'm moving away from a Yeti, yes, a Yeti that I've had for well over 10 years. I'd bought it as sort of a gateway mic, and I just never put it down because I'm lazy and I have decision paralysis. I want to have a mic that is a pretty dark mic so far, is what I've discerned that I want, because I don't like the tinniness in my voice, or any voice for that matter, and I want a deeper, more bassy voice. I'm also very quiet. I don't want to overprocess everything really either. So having to take out noise or worry about background noise because I'm so quiet, and I'm using gain to make up for that. And I don't really want a mic right up in my face. I mean, right now I have the Yeti, so I'm doing okay with that to this point and have learned to live with its shortcomings, I suppose. So I'm pretty sure I could be pretty versatile with any other mic. So I'd like to know what you would recommend as far as my playing with an XLR, PreSonus, Audio Box 96, and willing to rent microphones from the local music store. I just don't want to rent 20 of them. So any help as far as women's voices, darker mics, for gateway mics, for noobs to XLR. Is there any real difference between men's and women's voices? I suppose that's part of my question too. Thank you very much for your input and have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much for the question, Lydia. I appreciate it very much, and I actually recorded a bunch of audio samples, which we will jump to in a second. I just want to start off by saying I'm going to be whispering for a lot of this, so if that bothers you, sound speeds, I apologize. Let's go ahead and jump to past Bandrew and listen to some microphone samples. Lydia, thank you very much for the voice submission. You may have stumped me here, but we are going to go through a bunch of microphones to see if we can find one that meets your criteria. Currently, I am on the Yeti. It's about a foot away from my mouth. I'm assuming that's about where you would have it, where you don't want it directly in front of your face. I am on the cardioid mode. The gain on the microphone is set to 25% and 100% on my computer. And this is how it's been sounding. So this is going to be the baseline that we base all the other microphones against. This is the Yeti, typical Yeti sound. Now we are on the Shure SM58, and to be clear, I am not speaking in my regular volume. This is me pretty much whispering, but I am about 9 to 12 inches away from the SM58, running into the 18i20, gain at 100%, and here is how this sounds. $100, you're going to hear quite a bit more of that nasal tone because it has a boost right in that nasal area. It sounds a lot more nasally than the Blue Yeti, but $100, and you will have a lot more hiss with this because dynamic, gain at 100%, speaking quietly at a distance. Perfect storm to get as much hiss as possible. SM58. Now we are on an even quieter microphone, the Beyer Dynamic M201TG. This goes for about $300, so 3 times the price as the SM58. But on this, you'll get quite a bit more extension into the treble and air. You can hear that really articulate sound. But I would still classify this as a darker microphone in the grand scheme of things. It's more neutral than dark, but an absolutely amazing microphone. But I don't think, again, this is going to be the right fit because really quiet, gain at 100%, speaking at a distance. Perfect storm. That's the Beyerdynamic M201TG. Now we are on the microphone that I am assuming you were considering, but based on your criteria, I don't think it's the right fit. This is the SM7B, $400, $350, I don't know exactly how much it is now. I think $400. Neutral mode, 9 to 12 inches away from the capsule, gain at 100%, speaking quietly. This is another situation where perfect storm to get as much hiss as possible. Gain at 100%, speaking quietly at a distance from a microphone that is very quiet. So it's just, based on the fact you don't want that, this is not going to fit. But I'm going through these because these are all microphones that I would typically think of when I am asked about a darker microphone. That's the SM7B. Let's jump to another one. Now we are on another Beyerdynamic. This is the M160, which is a ribbon microphone. Same story, extremely quiet. Gain at 100%, about 9 to 12 inches away. And this thing just sounds phenomenal. But based on your criteria, again, it does one thing really well. It's darker. It has that smoother top end. It's not going to exaggerate any sizzle in your voice, just like the SM7B. It really attenuates that and handles it well. But it's extremely quiet. So probably not going to be the right fit for you. Again, this is a $700 microphone. Also, if you are just listening to this, I will have how much I boosted each of these in post in the video of this, bandrewsays.com if you want that. That's a ribbon microphone. And that is the last non-condenser because we have no other options. So let's jump to some condenser microphones. Now I am on the Shure KSM32, still whispering, still very far away, 9 to 12 inches. My gain is at 3 o'clock because I'm speaking so quietly. Now this isn't necessarily a dark condenser microphone. The reason I'm including this is it has some unicorn fart dust on the top end. It's such a smooth and soft top end. It doesn't make anything piercing or sharp sounding. It's just a great sounding microphone. And my heater just turned on, so apologize about that. I'm not going to turn it off. Deal with it. But this is a condenser I would consider in that price range. Well, you didn't give a price range to meet those criteria. But it will pick up a bit more room tone than a dynamic, probably less than the Yeti though. And yeah, Shure KSM32, $500 if I didn't mention, I think. Okay, that's that. Now I am on the Lauten Audio LS208, which is a broadcast condenser microphone. It is a very quiet condenser microphone, and my gain is at 100%, still 9 to 12 inches off. But the reason I'm including this, Lauten does something. They have a switch that I don't know if any other microphone company includes. It's a low-pass filter, meaning it rolls off a lot of the top end in the microphone. And I have that engaged. Let me switch it off. This is how the microphone sounds without that 8 kilohertz low-pass filter. I'm so used to saying high-pass filter, I just want to say that all the time, but this is just a neutral top end without any filters applied. Here is the low-pass filter at 10 kilohertz if you want still a little bit of that airiness, still a little bit of that articulation. And then we have that 8 kilohertz low-pass filter, which I started on. Really rolls off a lot of that top end, softens it up. You don't have all that hyper-articulate, detailed sound. That's why I included it, but being that it is so quiet, still probably would not meet your criteria. Now we are on the Earthworks Ethos. I'm still 9 to 12 inches off. My gain is at 3 o'clock again, and here is how the Earthworks Ethos sounds. I don't necessarily think this would meet your criteria because it does still have quite a bit of detail in the top end. Just listen to the T's, and the s, T's, s. but in the grand scheme of condensers, pretty tame top end thanks to this foam. The foam really does a lot to tame the top end. But this is another option, $700 though, and it will pick up more room tone. Still probably less than the Yeti, but will still do a fairly good job. And I'm holding this up all funny, but the final microphone is the Rode NTG3. The reason I'm recommending this, it's a shotgun microphone, so it will have better reach, so it will pick up your voice well from a further distance. Also, as far as shotgun microphones go, this is a bit darker and more robust in the low end, and based on the EQ profile that you provided, it seems as though you want a little bit of that bump in the low end to give your voice a bit more body. This is $700, I believe, and yeah, that's about it. 9.5 inches away, 9 to 12 inches away. My gain is at 1 o'clock. You can hear the cable rubbing on the table, and this is how this microphone sounds. We'll do a fairly good job at rejection of sounds in specific areas. Also, we'll do good at picking up your voice from a distance, but those are all the microphones. No, I have one more actually. I have one more. I apologize. We're not done yet. One more microphone that will not meet your needs, but I want to include it. Okay, let's switch to it. And the final microphone should have been lumped together with all of the other mics because it is not a condenser. It is a ribbon microphone, but it is an active ribbon. This is the AEA-KU5A, $1,200, I believe. 9 to 12 inches away, 48 volts on because, as I said, this is an active ribbon. My gain is at 4 o'clock, so nearly 100%. And this is just a beautiful sounding microphone. If you really enjoy the more recessed mids of the Yeti, and when I say that, I mean compared to a lot of these dynamics and ribbons, the Yeti sounds like it scoops out a bit of mids. I believe it actually does, but it doesn't have that same nasal tone to it. And a lot of these ribbons and dynamics do exaggerate a little bit of nasal tone. But I wanted to include this in case you want to be one of the only podcasters who uses a ribbon. I think it's a gorgeous sounding microphone. Is there much hiss? I don't know. Probably. Probably too much for you if you are really going to be precise about it and very stringent with your standards. Okay, those are all the mics that I had. I hope that helped. One thing I will say, I should have started with this actually. There's a website, womenonmic.org. womenonmic.org. That's run by Heather. She runs the Sunshine and Power Cuts podcast, part of the Geeks Rising podcast network. But she allows women to send in audio samples of them speaking on mics because that is sorely lacking, the samples that women have on microphones. So she aimed to solve that problem and offer a resource for that. So go check out womenonmic.org and feel free to send in some samples. If you have different mics, when you rent a bunch of mics, maybe record some samples, send them on in. That would be amazing. And I apologize to Alan from SoundSpeeds because I know he hates when people talk like this. And I've just been whispering for 8 minutes probably. He's going to hate this. I apologize, Alan. Okay, that's it. Let's jump back to current me because I recorded this in the morning. Okay, current me. Enjoy. And that is all that I wanted to cover today. If I did not say so in the prior recording, thank you very much for the submission, Lydia. I hope that helped you out. Best of luck on the mic search. If you have already made a decision, let us know in the comments. Would be great to hear what you decided on. Now let's jump to the movie of the week. And today's movie, or this week's movie rather, comes from 1962. Here we go. It is called Carnival of the Souls. This is the Criterion release of this movie, and I'm just going to come right out and admit it. I had a stack of movies, and I was not in the mood to watch one, and I was going through every single one. 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours. I ended up putting in Tarkovsky's Solaris. And then I realized, oh, this is all in Russian and subtitles, and it's nigh on 3 hours. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes. I can't handle this. And then I went through the stack and I said, okay, here's one that's an hour and 18 minutes. Carnival of the Souls. I've been meaning to watch it for years. It's outstanding. I will say, by modern standards, probably a little bit predictable. Definitely not going to be scary. But overall, I found it to be an outstanding movie that was very well executed. It's about a woman who gets in a drag racing accident. She's the sole survivor, and then she drives out to Salt Lake City, Utah to become a church organist. And while she's driving, she sees a ghostly apparition in her window. And throughout the movie, she sees that apparition a number of times. And a lot of the shots are very effective. I really enjoyed the makeup of that apparition. It's very creepy. And it reminds me of the zombies in Death Breath, their music video for their song. I think it's called Death Breath. Really enjoyed the makeup of them, and some of the visuals are very striking. But the thing that is the most effective has to be the music. She is an organist, so you can imagine the entire score is going to be organ. But with a title like Carnival of the Souls, you can probably imagine it's going to be very creepy carnival-style music on the organ, and that's exactly what it is. And golly, does it set you on edge. Set you on end? Set you on edge. It makes you edgy. She even gets fired from her job as an organist because while she's practicing, she starts playing this demonic carnival organ music that just is unsettling. It's beautifully done. Really a fun movie. So if you're looking for a 1960s horror film that seems to be less talked about, that has a very good score, I think it is absolutely worth a watch. Check it out. Carnival of the Souls, 1962. That's it for today. I've got nothing else to talk about. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you have an amazing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Next Sunday, I will be back. I will be talking at you again, and I will see you there, or I will see you another time. Okay, bye-bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production. Your executive producer is Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.